Well, when I went out to do a bit of shopping yesterday, I decided on the way out I'd have a look at the table that they have at the supermarket where there are books there and you leave a donation for a local charity. So I always have a look there. Generally, I'm looking for books for my grandson because he wants to become a chef. So I'm looking for cookery type books there, etc. Unfortunately, there weren't any there this time. But I did come across this book that I've never seen before. It's called Who Killed John Lennon? And it's by a man called Fenton Bressler. I think he's an American. I've never seen this book before. In all the years that I've been reading things about Lennon and his background and so on, the Beatles, I've never come across this one. I think it's an American publication originally. It says, I'll tell you some of the bits of reviews on the back. Raises a number of troubled and unresolved questions about Lennon's murder. Chet Flippo, author of Yesterday, the unauthorized biography of Paul McCartney, and there are many. A fascinating look into a celebrated case. I don't know about celebrated. Aspects of the Lennon homicide have troubled knowledgeable investigators for years. That's Maury Terry, author of The Ultimate Evil, an investigation into America's most dangerous satanic cult. Could that be the Manson cult? Oh, I don't know. Then we go into Who Killed John Lennon? Question mark. It's an exhaustive inquiry that not only asks a lot of disturbing questions, but also prevents even more terrifying answers. I am not especially prone to conspiracy theories, but this book makes frighteningly logical and unsettling sense. That's Danny Sugarman, author of Wonderland and co-author of No One Gets Out of Here Alive. The thing on Jim Morrison, The Doors. I bought that when it first came out, so I've got an original paperback edition. I've got it in the loft somewhere anyway. I won't part with it, but there you go. It says on December the 8th, 1980, the world was shocked by news. Rock and roll star John Lennon was assassinated outside his New York City apartment. The murderer, Mark David Chapman, a pudgy blue-eyed 25-year-old, flew nearly 6,000 miles to fire 4 shots from his 38 caliber revolver, silencing Lennon forever. The press and the public mourned the death of John Lennon. Chapman, locked away in an upstate New York prison, was angrily dismissed as an insane loner, a deranged Beatle fan whose obsession with Lennon had soured, believing his hero no longer had long sold out and become hypocritical. Sorry about that, Saeed, as those Lennon himself had criticised. Chapman was portrayed as the darkest embodiment of the deluded fan. Author Fenton Bressler spent 8 years researching police reports, court testimonies, and the psychological makeup of Mark David Chapman and found things did not add up. Why had Mark David Chapman just stood in the shadows near the bleeding body of John Lennon? What significance did The Catcher in the Rye really hold for Chapman? Why did he begin reading it just after he'd fired the fatal shots? While there were several quick escapes for Chapman after the murder, in brackets, a nearby subway stop, the typical rush of cabs on busy Central Park West, and the wooded shelter of Central Park, just across from the street. He waited for the police to come for him. Why? Why had Chapman twice without travelled the world twice without any real objective in mind? Where did he get the money from for the expense when he was forever in debt and working low-paying jobs? Why was Chapman portrayed in the media as a deranged fan when his involvement with the Beatles was no more than obsessive? than any other young person of his generation. Bressler maintains these questions, and more to the point, the only reasonable conclusion Mark David Chapman did not act alone. It says Fenton Bressler is both a barrister and journalist with equal success. He lives in London and Los Angeles, and cover photographs from the Michael Oakes archives. Now, I think this is an American edition anyway, and from the details that it says inside, 1989. But when I look inside, there's all sort of browning there, which you get, sometimes if books have not been stored very well. So there's a picture of him, picture of John Yoke, Chapman with an unidentified Vietnamese child during a Vietnamese relocation effort in 1975 at Fort Chaffee, Arkansas. I've not actually started reading it because I've not had a chance yet, but let me know if you've ever seen this book, if you've read it, what were your conclusions about the book, and did you believe any of it? Who knows what the truth is at the end of the day. I think, from what I read to you, there has been extensive research by this man, and I just find it strange that I've never come across it before. There's a picture here. Chapman holds his copy of Catcher in the Rye in court. Note, Chapman's haircut after shaving his head in jail. Sketch by Ida Libby, NBC. And then there's another court drawing there. Not very good, are they? Still, there we have it. Let me know. I'd be interested to hear your opinions if you've come across a copy of this. Okay, bye for now.